Welcome. Welcome to this quiet hour. Take a moment before we begin to let your body know that it is allowed to rest. You don't need to do anything more today. Whatever has been carried, you may set it down beside you, just here, just for now. Let your shoulders drop a little. Let your jaw soften. Let the space between your eyebrows grow loose and unhurried. Feel the weight of your head against the pillow, or the back of the chair, or whatever is holding you. Notice how it is being held without any effort from you. The pillow does the work. The bed does the work. You can simply rest into it. Take a slow breath in and let it leave you gently without pushing. Another breath in and out, and one more in and out. Tonight, we are going to travel somewhere very far from anywhere you have been today. We're going to a humid green valley, high up between two long ridges, where bell-shaped flowers grow in slow drifts along the slopes. In that valley, there's a small apothecary, and inside the apothecary, a wickbinder is finishing her quiet work, in no hurry at all. We're going to spend the evening with her. Nothing will be asked of you. You don't need to remember anything. You don't need to follow a story. You only need to let the words drift past you, the way pollen drifts past a window, slow and gold and soft. If your mind wanders, that's quite all right. If you lose the thread, that's quite all right too. Sleep can come at any moment. If it comes early, let it. If it takes its time, that's also fine. The story will keep moving, gently, with or without you. So let your breathing settle into its own rhythm now. Let your hands rest where they are. Let the room around you go quiet at its edges. And let me take you, slowly, into the valley of the bell-shaped flowers, where the air is warm and damp and full of slow gold light. You are standing on a narrow path of pale stones. The stones are smooth, set into the ground a long time ago, and they curve in a soft line up the side of a green slope. Above you, the sky is the color of warm honey poured into water, that soft, hazy gold of late afternoon in a humid place. The air on your skin is warm, but not hot. It is the kind of warmth that wraps you the way a thin shawl wraps you. Just enough, never too much. On either side of the path, the slope is covered in bell-shaped flowers. They are taller than the wildflowers you might know. Each stem reaches almost to your knee, and at the top of every stem, there hangs a single downturned bell, pale cream on the outside, pale gold within. They sway, just a little, in a breeze you can barely feel. And from inside each bell, slowly, in no rush at all, a faint cloud of golden pollen drifts down. It falls the way snow falls in a very calm storm. Slowly, quietly, drifting more than dropping. You can see it everywhere, layered against the green of the leaves and the gray of the stones. A fine gold dust hanging in the air, settling onto every surface, catching the late light. When you breathe in, you can almost taste it. It tastes the way warm bread smells. Soft, faintly sweet, a little like clover. You begin to walk up the path. Your footsteps are quiet on the pale stones. Each time your foot lifts, a small wisp of pollen rises and then sinks again. The bell flowers rustle. Somewhere down the valley, a wind chime makes a single low note and then is quiet. The path curves around a great mossy stone and brings you, after a little while, in sight of a building. It is small and round at one end, and made of pale gray stone and dark wood that is weathered to almost silver. The roof is mossed and gentle, and a soft thread of smoke curls up from a chimney pipe in its center. On the round end, there's a single round window of warped amber-tinted glass, and through that glass, you can see the low gold light of a lamp burning inside. This is the Apothecary, the brass pollen apothecary, the only one in the valley, and you have come to it at the close of a pollen fall day. You walk a little closer. The path widens into a small flagstone courtyard before the door. A copper sill runs along the base of the round window, and on the sill, the pollen has gathered in a soft golden line, like a velvet edging. A little brass bell hangs by the door, but it isn't ringing. You don't need to ring it. You only need to step under the eaves and push the dark wood door, and it swings open without a sound. Warm air greets you. Warm air that smells of beeswax and dried petals, and something faintly spiced, like cinnamon, like coriander seed, like the inside of an old wooden box. And under all that, the deep, clean smell of honey, very faint, like a memory. You stand for a moment in the doorway, letting your eyes adjust. The inside of the apothecary is shaped like the inside of a kindly old chest. The walls are lined, floor to ceiling, with small brass drawers, hundreds of them, in row upon orderly row, each no larger than the palm of your hand. Each drawer has a small brass pull and a small paper label, and the labels are written in a careful, looping hand. Some say things like evening bell, third gathering. Others say petal, cream, opened on a damp morning. You don't have to read them. They're simply pleasant to look at, the way rows of books are pleasant to look at. In the center of the room is a long counter of dark wood, polished by years of careful hands. On the counter sits a counterbalance scale, small, brass, beautifully made, with two round pans hanging from a slender beam. Beside the scale, there is a shallow copper pan set over a very low burner, and in the pan, a layer of pale beeswax is slowly warming, going from solid to soft to liquid in patient stages. You can smell it, that clean, honey and sunshine smell. Beyond the counter, in a smaller alcove, a kettle sits on its own small burner. It is round and brass, and its lid lifts and settles gently as the water inside murmurs. The kettle is not whistling. It is only murmuring, a low, contented sound, like someone humming under their breath while they read. And at the counter, with her back almost to you, stands the Wickbinder. She is not a young woman, and she is not an old woman. She is somewhere in between, with her hair pulled back in a soft knot and a long sand-colored apron over a simple linen dress. Her sleeves are rolled to the elbow. Her hands are slow and certain. She has heard you come in. There was the small breath of air from the door, but she does not turn quickly. She turns only when she has finished what she was doing, which is setting a small saucer of pollen down on the counter, exactly in its place. When she turns, she gives you a soft nod and the smallest of smiles. She does not speak. She gestures with one hand toward a small wooden stool near the window, an invitation to sit, to stay, to watch if you like. Then she turns back to her work. In this apothecary, there is no need to explain yourself. You are welcome simply because you are here. You sit on the stool. It is the perfect height. The window is just behind you, and through it, when you turn your head a little, you can see the bell flowers on the slope, still drifting their slow gold pollen down onto the world. For a long moment, you only watch. You let yourself watch. The Wickbinder is sweeping the brass threshold along the edge of the counter, where pollen has gathered through the day. She uses a small, soft brush, bristles the color of wheat, set into a polished wooden handle, and she sweeps with long, unhurried strokes from left to right, from left to right. The pollen gathers into a tiny golden ridge, and she guides it patiently into a waiting paper envelope. The envelope is waxed and crinkles softly when she lifts it. She folds it once, twice, and sets it aside. Then she begins again at another brass threshold, this one along the base of a row of drawers. Sweep, sweep, sweep. The bristles make a sound like the smallest of whispers. The pollen gathers. Another envelope opens, fills, folds, is set aside. The kettle murmurs. The beeswax warms. Outside, the bellflowers nod. Inside, the lamp burns its low gold light. You feel your shoulders, which were a little tight, settle further. You feel your breath slow. The apothecary, you realize, is humming very faintly. At first, you think it is the kettle. Then you think it is the wind. And then you understand that it is something else. Somewhere in the room, a single wick has been lit, and it is humming. You look around, gently, until you find it. It is on a small clay dish on a shelf near the door. A wick the length of your finger, pale gold, burning with a small, soft flame. As it burns, it hums, a low, almost inaudible sound, the way a glass bowl hums when you run a damp finger around its rim. But softer than that, lower than that, a sound you feel in your chest more than in your ears. This is the sound the wicks make. This is what the brass pollen apothecary makes. Wicks that hum. Wicks twisted out of pollen and beeswax, made in no hurry at all, to be set in the lamps of the valley's quiet households at evening time. You settle deeper onto your stool. You let your hands rest in your lap. You let yourself watch the Wickbinder work. She has finished her sweeping now. The small envelopes of swept pollen sit in a neat line along the edge of the counter. She does not open them yet. First, she goes to the kettle and, with a folded cloth, lifts it gently from its burner and pours a slow stream of hot water into a small earthenware cup. She drops in a pinch of something from one of the brass drawers, a leaf, perhaps, or a few dried petals, and sets the cup beside her work, where the steam rises in a thin, pale ribbon. She does not drink from it yet. She only sets it where she can reach it. Then she returns to the counter and to the counterbalance scale and begins. She opens the first envelope, the smallest one, and tips a careful pinch of pollen onto the left pan of the scale. Then, from a small wooden tray, she picks up a tiny brass weight, shaped like a teardrop, and sets it on the right pan. The beam tips very slowly. She watches. She adds a few more grains of pollen. The beam levels. She nods just once to herself. The scale ticks softly as it settles. You hear that sound? The slow tick of brass on brass, and you find that you like it. It is a careful sound. It is a sound that says, this will be done correctly, and there is no hurry. She tips the weighed pollen into a small saucer. She sets the saucer aside. She opens another envelope. She does it all over again. You watch her weigh out 5 small saucers of pollen, each from a different envelope, each a slightly different shade of gold. One is almost cream. One is almost amber. One has tiny flecks of red in it, like the smallest specks of paprika. One is so pale, it is almost silver. One is the deep gold of honey, straight from a comb. When the 5 saucers are weighed and set in their row, she pauses. She looks at them, slowly, the way someone might look at a small landscape painting, with affection, with patience, with consideration. Then she goes to the row of drawers behind her and opens one, very gently. It makes a small, satisfying click. She takes out a coil of thin linen thread, uncolored, a little rough, the color of fresh cream, and brings it to the counter. This is the heart of the wick. The pollen and beeswax wrap around it, but the linen is the core. She measures off a length of thread by holding it between her 2 thumbs, drawing it out across the width of her shoulders, and then snipping it cleanly with small, bright scissors. She lays the thread on a square of waxed paper. She does this 7 times. 7 threads, 7 wicks for tonight's tray. She lays them out side by side on the waxed paper, parallel, like the strings of a small instrument. Then she goes to the shallow copper pan of beeswax, which is melted now into a clear gold pool. The smell is stronger now. Warm beeswax, honey and sunshine and clean linen. She lifts the pan just slightly to test how it moves, then sets it back over the very low flame. She does not let it grow too hot. She is in no hurry. With a small wooden dipper, she lifts a little of the warm wax. She drizzles it slowly along the first linen thread. The wax soaks into the thread, and the thread darkens to gold. She lifts the thread between her fingers and rolls it gently, drawing the wax along its length. She lays it back down. Then she takes a pinch of pollen from the first saucer, the cream pale one, and sprinkles it along the thread and rolls again. The pollen sticks to the warm wax and turns the wick into a little wand of pale gold. You watch her do this. You watch her hands move. They are unhurried. They know what they are doing. You feel, watching them, that you do not need to know what they are doing. They have it well in hand. She moves to the second thread. A drizzle of warm wax, a pinch of the amber pollen, a slow roll between her fingertips. The wax sets quickly in the cool air, and the wick becomes solid, slim, and gold. Third thread. A drizzle, a pinch. This time, the silver pale pollen, which makes the wick almost luminous, like a sliver of pale moonlight. She lifts it, turns it once in the light, sets it down. The kettle murmurs in its alcove. The lit wick on its clay dish hums its low hum. The bellflowers, beyond the round window, drift their slow gold downwards. You feel that very little is happening, and that this is exactly right. While the third wick cools on the waxed paper, the Wickbinder pauses to drink, finally, from her earthenware cup. She lifts it carefully in both hands. She breathes the steam first. Then she sips, slowly, with closed eyes. She sets the cup down. She returns to her work. Fourth thread, a drizzle of wax. This time the deep honey gold pollen, the strongest of the 5. She rolls the wick carefully. This one is for someone she seems to know, and lays it down. A small sound at the door makes her look up. You look up too. The door has not opened, but beneath the door, in the slim gap between wood and threshold, a folded square of paper has slid in. Pale paper, folded twice, resting just inside the room. The Wickbinder does not rush to it. She finishes laying her 4th wick down on the waxed paper. She wipes her fingers on the corner of her apron. Then she walks slowly to the door and bends to pick up the folded note. She unfolds it once. She unfolds it again. She reads it where she stands, beside the small humming wick on its clay dish, with the warm lamplight falling softly across the page. It is a short note. You can tell by how quickly she finishes reading. When she has finished, she stands quite still for a moment. Then she folds the note again and tucks it gently into the pocket of her apron and pats the pocket once, the way you might pat the head of a child. She walks back to the counter, but she does not begin the 5th thread. Instead, she turns to the wall of brass drawers and she pauses, considering. She is choosing. You can see it in the small angle of her head. She is choosing the gentlest pollens she has. After a moment, she lifts her hand and pulls open a drawer high on the wall. It clicks softly. She lifts out a small waxed paper envelope and brings it down to the counter. She opens another drawer. Click. Another envelope. Another drawer, lower this time, just above her knee. Click. Another envelope. She does this slowly, one drawer at a time, one small click at a time, one soft envelope after another, settling on the counter. You count them idly, without meaning to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She has chosen 6 envelopes. She lays them out in a line, like the keys of a little instrument. There is, she explains to herself with the smallest of nods, a way to make a sleeping wick. You can sense, watching her, what she is thinking, the way you can sense a friend's thoughts when you have sat with them long enough. A sleeping wick needs the softest pollens, gathered in the dew of morning. It needs no spice, no brightness, nothing that would call attention to itself. It needs only those pollens that fall the way an autumn leaf falls, slowly, with no intention of arriving. She opens each envelope and tips a small amount onto the left pan of the Counterbalance Scale. Just a little of each. She watches the beam. She adds a few more grains here, removes a few there, until the beam settles, perfectly level. The scale ticks softly into balance. She tips the blended pollen into a small, clean saucer of its own. The mix is the palest gold you have ever seen, almost the color of fresh butter, only finer, only softer, only more luminous. She looks at it. She nods. She takes the 5th length of linen thread and lays it on the waxed paper. She dips into the warm beeswax with her wooden dipper and drizzles the wax along the thread. Slowly, slowly, the way you would pour syrup over a fragile pastry. Then she sprinkles the pale gold blend onto the wax. She rolls the thread between her fingertips, very gently. She does not press hard. She lets the warm wax and the soft pollen find each other in their own time. She does it a second time. Another drizzle of wax. Another sprinkle of pollen. Another slow roll between her fingertips. The wick grows just a little plumper, just a little more golden. A third time. Drizzle. Sprinkle. Roll. This is a careful wick. This is a wick made of patience. This is a wick made of small mornings and small evenings, of dew and slow light, of pollens gathered before the day became loud. When the Wickbinder lifts it to the lamp to look at it, it almost seems to glow on its own. She sets it down on a separate square of felt, a little piece of dove gray felt, set aside for special wicks. She watches it cool. While it cools, she goes back to the 6th and 7th threads, the ones still waiting, and she finishes them too, one with the pale silver pollen, one with the cream. Slow drizzles, slow rolls, slow settings down. When she is done, the 7 wicks are laid out in a quiet row on the waxed paper, each one a slim taper of gold, each one slightly different in shade, like a row of small flames laid down to rest. She wipes her hands on the apron. She steps back. She looks at her work without pride, but with quiet satisfaction. The kind of quiet satisfaction that doesn't need to be shown to anyone. Outside the round window, the light has shifted. The honey gold of the late afternoon has deepened to the color of pressed apricot. The slope of bell flowers has darkened just a little. The pollen still drifts down, but now it catches a deeper light, and each grain seems to glow faintly as it falls. Evening is coming, petal by petal, into the valley. The Wickbinder turns to the wall behind her counter. At waist height, there's a wide, shallow drawer, longer than the others. She pulls it out gently. Inside, the drawer is lined with felt, a soft, warm gray, and it is divided into small compartments. Each compartment is just the right size for a single wick. One by one, she takes the cooled wicks from the waxed paper and lays them gently into the felt compartments. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th one, the sleeping wick, she handles with a little extra care. She lays it in the center compartment. She tucks a folded square of waxed paper around it, very lightly, so it does not roll. Then she lays in the 6th and the 7th. She closes the drawer slowly. It slides shut with the softest of clicks. The tray is ready. The day's work is almost done. She goes to her earthenware cup and finds that the tea has gone cool. She does not mind. She tips what is left of it into a small clay bowl set by the window. A bowl, you understand, without anyone saying so, for the small birds that come at evening to drink. Then she rinses the cup, very slowly, in a basin of warm water, dries it with a square of pale cloth, and sets it back on its shelf. She lifts the kettle, fills it again from a covered jug, and sets it back on the low burner. The kettle begins its murmuring again, after a little while, almost too soft to hear. She moves around the apothecary, very slowly, doing the small tasks that close a day. She trims a candle that is burned down to its last finger of wax. She wipes the scale gently with a fold of soft cloth until the brass shines warmly. She straightens the row of empty saucers. She brushes the last few grains of pollen from the counter into a tiny envelope, folds it, and tucks it into a drawer marked Saved Gleanings. She walks to each of the windows in turn. There are 3 small ones besides the round window, and runs a soft brush along the copper sills. Pollen gathers under the brush in soft gold lines. She sweeps each line into an envelope. She does not throw any of it away. In this valley, nothing that falls is wasted. Even the dust of the day becomes part of tomorrow's wicks. When the sills are clean, she stands for a moment at the round window. She looks out at the slope. The bellflowers are dimmer now. The light through the warped amber glass has gone from afternoon gold to evening amber, and there is a kind of softness to it that makes everything inside the apothecary glow, as if it is being remembered rather than seen. You sit on your stool and watch her watching the valley. You feel very still. After a long, kind moment, she turns from the window. She crosses to the wall of brass drawers. She pulls open the wide tray drawer with the 7 wicks in their felt compartments. She lifts out the sleeping wick, the pale, gold, gentlest one. She wraps it gently in a square of fresh waxed paper. She folds the paper once, twice. She ties it with a single length of cream linen thread, the same kind that lives at the heart of every wick, and she ties the thread in a slow, careful bow. Then she takes a small slip of paper from a drawer and writes, in her looping hand, only a few words. You cannot see the words from where you sit, but you can imagine them. For your grandfather. Light it after he is settled. Let it burn until it goes out on its own. Something like that. Something gentle. She tucks the slip of paper under the linen bow. She sets the parcel on a small wooden tray of its own. She places the tray on a shelf by the door, where a hand can find it easily, even in the dim of evening. She nods to herself once, just once, and turns away. Now she does something you have not seen her do yet. She unties the strings of her apron. She lifts it over her head, slowly, and hangs it on a peg by the door. Underneath the apron, her linen dress is the color of warm sand. She runs her hands once down its front, smoothing it. She rolls her sleeves a little further down, but not all the way. The evening is warm. She goes to a basin in the back corner of the room and washes her hands. The water makes a soft sound as it runs over her fingers. She dries them on a square of linen cloth and lays the cloth back on its hook. She moves to the kettle, lifts it gently with the folded cloth, and pours hot water into a small, clean cup. A different cup this time, deeper, the color of moss. She drops in a small twist of dried flower from one of the brass drawers, a chamomile perhaps, or something kindred to it, and watches the water turn pale gold. She carries the cup to a low wooden chair near the round window. The chair has a soft cushion, the color of old wheat. She sits down in it slowly, with a small sigh, the sigh of someone who has had a good day's work and is, at last, allowed to rest. She holds the cup in both hands. She breathes the steam. She does not drink right away. She only holds it, looking through the round window at the dimming slope. The pollen drifts down outside. It is almost too dark to see now, but you can still sense it falling. You can feel the slow, soft motion of it, as if the whole valley is sighing the day away in a long fall of gold. After a little while, the Wickbinder reaches out and lifts something from a small table beside her chair. It is a wick, one of the ones she made earlier, the one with the pale silver pollen, the one that almost glowed in her hand. She has saved it for herself. There is a small clay dish on the table, empty, polished. She sets the wick into the dish. She lifts a thin sliver of cedar from a little box, leans it into the lamp on the far counter to catch a flame, and brings the flame back, cupped in her hand, to the small clay dish. She touches the cedar to the tip of the wick. The wick catches. A small, soft flame rises, no larger than the tip of her smallest finger. It burns with a quiet steadiness, and as it burns, the wick begins to hum. It is a low hum. It is the sound that the other wick on the shelf has been making this whole time. Only this one is closer to her and closer to you. You can feel it in the air. It is the sound of something warm and small and patient. It is the sound of the day being put away. She blows out the cedar sliver very gently and sets it back in its box. She sits back in the chair. She takes her first slow sip of the warm tea. You sit on your stool. You listen. You watch the small flame. You watch the gold of it bend and steady, You hear the hum. You feel the warm air on your skin. You smell the beeswax, the dried petals, the faint, clean honey beneath it all. For a long while there is no sound but the kettle's low murmur and the hum of the small wick and the very faint sigh of the pollen falling on the copper sills outside. You notice, after a time, that your shoulders have dropped further than they were. You notice that your breathing has slowed without you choosing it. You notice that your eyelids are heavy, gently heavy, in the way they are heavy at the end of a long, kind day. There's nowhere you have to be. There's nothing you have to do. The Wickbinder has finished her work. The sleeping wick is wrapped and waiting on its tray by the door, where in the morning her neighbor will come to find it. The 7 wicks are nested in their felt drawer. The pollen is swept. The scale is wiped. The kettle is full. The lamp is lit. The day is closed. Outside the round window, the valley dims petal by petal. One by one, the bellflowers fold themselves into their evening shape, drawing in just slightly, the way hands curl loosely in sleep. One by one, far down the slope, small windows light up, pale gold, pale amber, pale honey, as the households of the valley settle in for the night. Each of those windows, you understand, has a wick in it that the Wickbinder, or someone like her, has made by hand, in no hurry at all. And each of those wicks hums very softly in its lamp. If you listened from the slope, with the air cool against your skin and the pollen drifting around you, you would hear the whole valley humming, a chorus so low and so soft that you would not notice it as sound. You would only notice that the valley felt safe, that it felt held, that whatever needed to rest was already resting. Here in the apothecary, the Wickbinder takes another slow sip of her tea. She watches her small flame. She is letting the shop settle into stillness. You are letting yourself settle into stillness with it. The warm beeswax scent grows softer as the copper pan cools. The kettle's murmur grows softer too, sinking toward a whisper. The lamplight does not change, but the world outside the round window gradually becomes darker, and so the lamp seems warmer by comparison, more cradling, more gold. Your eyes may close now if they want to. You don't need to keep them open to be in this room. You don't need to see the Wickbinder to know she is there, in her chair, by the round window, with her warm cup and her small humming flame. Let your eyes close, if they wish. Let your hands rest. Let your face be soft. Feel the warm air on your skin. Smell the beeswax. Hear the kettle's soft murmur. Hear the low hum of the small wick. Feel the slow tick of the counterbalance scale, somewhere in the room, settling into rest. The Wickbinder takes another sip of tea. She watches the flame. A little later, though time has gone loose here, and you cannot quite tell when, she sets the cup down beside her. She does not get up. She does not blow out the wick. She is letting it burn until it goes out on its own, the same way she would tell the neighbor to do, the same way the wicks have been let to burn in the valley for as long as anyone has been making them. She rests her hands in her lap. She leans her head just a little against the soft back of the chair. She closes her eyes. The small wick keeps humming, and outside, the pollen keeps falling, slowly, slowly, settling onto the copper sills. You are very still now. You are very warm. You are very held. If a thought comes, Let it drift past, the way a grain of pollen drifts past the window. Slow, gold, soft. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to do anything with it. Let it drift. Let everything drift. The hum of the small wick is the slow center of the world now. You can feel it in your chest, faint and warm, the way you can feel a kind voice nearby. You don't need to listen to it. It listens to you. The brass drawers, in their long, quiet rows, hold the day's gatherings. The felt-lined drawer holds the 7 wicks. The tray by the door holds the parcel for the neighbor's grandfather, tied with its careful bow. The kettle, murmuring softly, holds tomorrow's first cup of tea. The Wickbinder, in her chair, holds the close of the day. And you, where you are held too, held by the chair, or the bed, or the pillow beneath you, held by the soft dark of the room around you, held by the slow gold light of the lamp inside the apothecary, which goes on burning in your imagination long after you have stopped seeing it. Outside, the valley dims further. Bell flower by bell flower, petal by petal, the pollen falls, the kettle murmurs, the wick hums. You breathe, in and out, in and out. The lamp burns low, the drawer is closed, the work is done. You may rest now, you may rest. The small flame steadies. It is very warm, it is very kind. The valley quiets, the pollen drifts, the wick hums, softer, softer, softer still. Sleep well, sleep deeply, sleep long. Good night, good night. And yet, just a little longer, you may stay here. Just a little longer in this quiet place, in this slow gold light, where nothing is asked of you, and nothing waits, and nothing hurries. The apothecary keeps its shape around you, even as your edges soften. The shelves with their patient jars, the brass drawers with their small paper labels, written long ago in a hand that took its time. The kettle on its low blue ring of warmth. The Wickbinder in her chair by the back window, her hands folded in her lap now, her work set aside, her eyes half closed. She is resting too. You notice, without needing to think about it, that the room has grown a shade dimmer. The lamp on the counter has lowered itself, the way a kind animal lowers its head. The glow it gives is honey-colored now, deep and slow, pooling on the wood, pooling on the brass, pooling on the small round rug at the foot of the counter. The rug is the color of wheat at evening. It has been walked on by many soft shoes. It is glad to be walked on. It is glad now to simply rest beneath the light. Everything in the apothecary is glad to rest. The jars rest. The drawers rest. The bundles of dried bellflowers, hanging from their hooks along the high beam, rest with their petals folded inward, like small sleeping bells. The mortar and pestle on the counter rest. The little brass scale, with its 2 empty pans, rests perfectly balanced, the way a held breath rests just before it is released. You are perfectly balanced too. You can feel it. The slow weight of your body, settled into whatever holds you. The slow rise and fall of your breath. The slow turning of your thoughts, which have grown round and smooth, like river stones, with no sharp edges left. There is nothing for you to carry. There is nothing for you to fix. There is nothing for you to remember. The Wickbinder, in her chair, takes a long, slow breath. You can almost hear it, somewhere at the back of the quiet. In and out. The kind of breath that means the day is closed. is closed. Outside, beyond the small front window, the valley has settled into its blue hour. The hills are darker than the sky. The sky is the color of pale river water. The bellflowers all along the slopes have dimmed their golden centers, one by one, in the slow, patient way they do each evening. You don't need to watch them. You know they are there. You know the pollen is drifting, soft as breath, down the long grasses. You know the small paths between the flowers are empty now, the gatherers gone home, their baskets set down by their doors. All through the valley, small lamps are being lowered. Small kettles are being set to murmur. Small doors are being closed against the cool. And in each small house, someone is resting. You are resting too. The Wickbinder stirs just a little in her chair. She reaches, slowly, for the soft wool blanket folded over the arm of the chair. She draws it across her lap. The blanket is the color of oat milk, with a thin band of pale blue at its edge. It has been washed many times. It is very soft. You can feel in your own body the way that blanket feels. Warm, loose, familiar. The kind of warm that doesn't press, but only settles. You may have a blanket like that too, somewhere near you. Or a quilt. Or simply the soft warmth of the air around you. Whatever it is, let it settle on you, the way her blanket settles on her. Without weight, without hurry. Just warmth, drawn close. The kettle on its low blue ring murmurs a little softer now. Its small voice is the voice of a thing nearly asleep. The Wickbinder will not pour tea from it tonight. She will let it murmur itself down to silence, the way she does every evening, the way her mother did, and her mother's mother. The kettle knows this. The kettle is content. The lamp on the counter lowers itself another shade. The honey light pools deeper and narrower, like water finding its quiet place. The brass drawers along the wall gleam faintly, only here and there, only where the light still reaches. The rest of them have gone soft into shadow. The shadows in the Apothecary are kind shadows. They are the color of folded cloth. They do not hide anything. They only rest, like everything else, in the slow gold light. You can rest in them too. You can let your thoughts go soft into shadow, the way the drawers have. Whatever was bright in your mind today, let it dim, just a little, just a shade, just enough that it stops asking anything of you. It is allowed to be there. It is allowed to be quiet, like the jars on the shelves. Each one holds something. None of them needs to be opened tonight. The Wickbinder closes her eyes for a long moment, then opens them slowly, just enough to see the lamp, just enough to see that the work is done, just enough to be sure. Then she closes them again. The small wick in the lamp hums on. You can still feel its hum, low in your chest, low in the back of your throat, low in the warm space behind your eyes. It is not a sound exactly. It is more like a slow, kind thought that is having itself for you, so you do not have to. Let it have itself. Let it hum. Let the lamp burn low. Let the kettle murmur down. Let the valley dim. Let the bell flowers fold. Let the pollen drift. Let the day close. Somewhere far up the slope, a single late bellflower lowers its small gold center. Somewhere, in a small house with a green door, a small lamp is dimmed. Somewhere, on a wooden table, A cup of tea cools beside an open book that no one will read again tonight. Somewhere, a soft shoe is set beside another soft shoe by the foot of a low bed. All through the valley, small endings, all of them kind, all of them slow. You are one of them. You are a small, kind ending of a long day. You have nothing left to do but rest, nothing left to carry, nothing left to finish. The Wickbinder in her chair has settled fully now. Her hands are still in her lap. The wool blanket lies easy across her knees. Her breath comes long and slow, and her chest rises only a little and falls only a little, the way the chest of a sleeping person rises and falls. She is not quite asleep. She is not quite awake. She is in the soft place between. You may be there too. The soft place between is a place anyone may go. It has no door. It has no key. You arrive by breathing. You arrive by letting your shoulders drop. You arrive by no longer holding anything tightly. Let your hands be open wherever they are, or let them be folded loosely, or let them be tucked beneath the warm edge of a blanket. Whatever they are doing, let them stop holding. Let your jaw be soft. Let the space between your eyebrows be soft. Let the small space at the base of your throat be soft. There. That is the soft place between. The apothecary holds you in it. The slow gold light holds you in it. The hum of the small wick holds you in it. Outside, far above the valley, the first stars are coming out. You cannot see them from where you are, but you know they are there. Small, patient, very far away. They will turn slowly across the sky all night. No one needs to watch them. They turn whether or not anyone is watching. That is a kind thing when you think of it. So many kind things are turning, whether or not anyone is watching. The stars, the slow tides of the air, the breath of small, sleeping creatures in the grasses, the roots of the bellflowers, drawing water up from deep stone. All of it, turning slowly without needing you. You may rest. The lamp on the counter lowers itself one more shade. The honey light becomes a single soft circle now, only as wide as a folded cloth. Everything beyond it has gone into the kind shadow. The shelves, the drawers, the hanging bundles of dried bellflowers, the Wickbinder in her chair. Only the lamp remains, only the small circle of slow gold, only the hum, and even that is softening. You can feel it softening in your chest, not going away, only softening. The way a voice softens when it has nearly finished saying something kind. The wick in the lamp does not go out. It will not go out tonight. It will burn low and steady all the way through until morning, when the Wickbinder will rise and trim it and set the kettle to a fuller song and open the green painted door to the cool blue air of the valley. But morning is far away. Morning is not your concern. Your concern is only this breath, and the next, and the slow space between them, in and out, in and out. The kettle has gone almost silent now. Its murmur is the merest thread of sound, like a small thought passing through. In a little while, even that thread will be gone. The kettle will rest. The blue ring of warmth will dim. The counter will be still. You are already still. Notice how still you are. Not stiff. Not held. Only still. The way a small pond is still at evening. when the wind has dropped and the surface has gone smooth, and the reflection of the sky is held there, perfectly, without effort. You are like that pond. You are holding a soft reflection of a soft sky. You are not trying. You are only being. The apothecary is fond of you. You can feel that in the way the slow gold light leans toward you. You can feel that in the way the wool blanket on the Wickbinder's lap has become, somehow, your blanket too. You can feel that in the kind shadow that has gathered along the shelves, like an old friend settling in for the night. This place will be here whenever you wish to return. The shelves with their jars, the drawers with their labels, the kettle on its low blue ring, the lamp with its slow gold light, the Wickbinder in her chair, the bell flowers on the slopes outside, the small green door. It will all be here. You do not need to remember it tonight. You do not need to hold any of it. It will keep itself the way the stars keep themselves, the way the roots keep themselves, the way the slow tides of the air keep themselves. All you need to do is rest. Let the shelves go. Let the drawers go. Let the jars go. Let the kettle go. Let the lamp go. Let the Wickbinder go. Let the bell flowers go. Let the valley go. Let the stars go. Let it all go on without you, kindly, slowly, without needing your attention. The small wick hums, softer. The kettle has gone silent now. You did not hear it stop. It only became part of the quiet. The Wickbinder breathes long and slow in her chair. You did not hear her fall fully into sleep. She only became part of the quiet too. The lamp burns low. The shadow is kind. The room is warm. The valley is dim. The pollen drifts. The stars turn. You breathe. In and out. In and out. There is nothing more to gather tonight. There is nothing more to bind. There is nothing more to set in a drawer. There is nothing more to label or weigh or tie with a careful bow. The work is done. The work is done. The work is done. And you, where you are done too. Done with the day. Done with the carrying. Done with the holding. Done with the listening and the thinking and the trying. Done in the kindest way. The way a small flame is done when it has given all its light. The way a kettle is done when it has murmured its last soft note. The way a bellflower is done when it has folded its petals for the night. Done. And resting. Resting in the soft place between. Resting in the slow gold light. Resting in the hum of the small wick. Resting in the warm wool of the blanket. Resting in the kind shadow. Resting in the dim blue valley. Resting under the slow turning stars. Resting, resting, resting. The small wick hums lower. Softer, softer. There's a long, slow breath in the apothecary now. It belongs to everything. To the lamp, to the kettle, to the shelves, to the Wickbinder, to the valley, to you. One long, slow breath shared. In and out. In and out. The lamp lowers itself one final shade, so gentle you barely notice. The gold becomes the gold of a single steady ember. Small, warm, enough. Enough light for a sleeping room. Enough warmth for a sleeping heart. Enough hum for a sleeping mind. Enough. You are enough in this moment. You do not have to be anything more. You do not have to do anything more. You only have to be here, breathing, in the soft place between. And you are, and you are, and you are. The valley quiets further. The stars turn further. The pollen drifts further. The wick hums softer, softer, softer still. You may let the apothecary go now, if you wish. You may let the room around it go. You may let the small green door and the wheat-colored rug and the brass drawers and the bundles of dried bellflowers all become part of the kind shadow. They do not need to be held in your mind. They are held already. They are kept. All you need to keep is your breath, and even your breath is kept for you. In and out. In and out. The kettle has gone fully silent. The lampy has gone fully low. The wickbinder has gone fully into her gentle sleep. The valley has gone fully dim. And you are going too. Going softly. Going slowly. Going kindly. Going into the warm dark, where the hum of the small wick will follow you, and the slow gold of the lamp will follow you, and the long, slow breath of the apothecary will follow you, the whole way, until you are fully, deeply, sweetly asleep. You do not have to arrive. You only have to drift. 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 The lamp burns low. The drawer is closed. The work is done. The room is warm. The valley is quiet. The stars are turning. The flowers are folded. The pollen is settled. The kettle is silent. The wick is humming. Softer, softer. You are resting. You are kept. You are held. You are warm. You are safe. You are enough. Sleep now. Sleep deeply. Sleep long. Sleep well. The small flame steadies. The hum softens. The valley dims. The stars turn. And you drift. You drift. You drift. Good night. Good night. Good night.